Hey everyone, welcome to the Fast Forward podcast. It's about real stories, not the highlight reel. We talk about the wins, the pivots, the burnout, and the breakthroughs that don't make it onto LinkedIn. The goal is to pull out lessons that actually help the next generation of builders. And today we are joined with Chandler Lyles. Hi, Chandler. How are you?
Great, man. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for joining. Usually you kick it off with like a kind of an origin story about you and your business. I know you've built multiple ventures. You just mentioned Lyle's Barbecue, and now you're in your own business. You're co-founder of High Beam Marketing. What's the through line that connects all of it, and what did you learn from your earlier businesses that you can still apply to today?
Man, those are both 4-hour podcast questions alone. I feel like you hit us right with the heavy stuff right off the bat, and I like that. That's good. The through line through everything is that I think at a very theoretical level, humans are best when they're helping other humans live better lives. And ultimately that's what businesses do, right? It's not to just make you rich. Shareholder value, it should be a four-letter word in most people's conversations. One of my personal mission statements in life is to try to put the Fortune 500 out of business because I believe it should be illegal for you to lay off 10,000 employees just to make your P&L look okay and so that you get a nice bonus on a quarterly basis. Like, I think that is so bad for the community that we live in. And it is a bastardization of what capitalism should be. Conscious
Mhm.
capitalism is a real thing. And so at the end of the day, every business I've started solves a need, solves a problem. And I will point this out to anybody that's new in the audience that's starting a business for the first time. It's okay if you don't understand the deeper meaning and the deeper why your company exists. Sometimes it just is, I'm trying to create and chase my own dream and my own freedom. And then as you become a more successful business owner, all of a sudden you're able to get deeper. It's almost, what is it? Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Yeah,
right? Like as soon as you're fed, then you can start worrying about self-actualization. So that's been my entrepreneur journey on a broad level, and I'm happy to drill in deeper any way you want.
sure.
But yeah, I've been in this second venture for 4 years now, and I was in the first one. I was a barbecue restaurant owner, like you said, for 6 years, and I crashed that company. So I can take you through the beginning, middle, and end of a business, and I can take you from the lessons learned and picking yourself back up and trying not to crash again. It's your adventure. You choose it today.
But let's focus on high beam marketing. What was it that took you this direction and becoming a high performance marketing agency?
Yeah, my reason for starting the agency is grounded in that first business experience. When I owned Lyle's Barbecue Company, the thing I kept running into as a entrepreneur was that I'd meet these other service providers, whether they were accountants or bookkeepers or lawyers or business coaches or marketing agencies. Everybody just kind of wanted to sell me the shovel to go dig
Yeah.
for gold and didn't really want to get in the trenches with me and help me look for it. And so it created this very almost competitive environment with a lot of our vendors. And I realized that two things. One, most agencies, most B2B service providers really don't care about the outcomes for their clients. They're really just worried about their own P&Ls, which is a misaligned incentive structure really at the end of the day. And two, that when I was in barbecue restaurant owner, like we had a ton of great reviews and we kept growing. But then I'd have other friends that owned restaurants and they would have good reviews, but they would stall out and then their business would fail and close. And the only thing that we would do different that they wouldn't do, it wasn't the quality of ingredients, it wasn't the service, it wasn't the atmosphere, because a lot of those things were better than us in a lot of ways.
Right.
But what we did better than anybody else was tell people to come buy our stuff, which is just a fancy way of saying we're really good at marketing. We got really good at marketing. And what I realized throughout that 6 years of running that first business, and even now being an agency owner and having hundreds of clients over the course of years, we've had hundreds of clients, but
Sure.
like most people just get really good at doing the thing and they think that's enough, but you also have to go out and sell the thing. Like you have to tell people to buy the thing. It's like if a business falls in the forest and nobody's around to hear it, would they buy from it? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's not a you got to tell people. And that's essentially what marketing does at the end of the day is it tells people, it wakes them up and makes them do something.
Right. And that's so pivotal as we get further into the digital era of things and the regurgitation of information, which is happening all over the place because of AI. Differentiation is becoming harder.
Oh my gosh, AI is gonna I mean, people that are already behind, it's gonna get so much worse for them, and I'm worried about it on a lot of different levels.
I agree
Like
completely.
in our world, and you're more of an AI expert than I would be, so please step in when I say the wrong thing. I'm coachable if nothing else. But like Facebook just came out, which is Meta, they just came out with this update to their ad platform called the Andromeda update. And essentially what this has done is it's put the bidding totally in the hands of the algorithm now. It's put targeting in the hands of the algorithm. And that means like Meta is telling us that you're supposed to launch a new campaign with 20 different creative assets. And that doesn't mean like I have 5 different photos and they all have different headlines. It wants different creative in each photo, different headlines in each photo, and in videos. And so when I meet with creative agencies and talk to them about video projects and things that we need for our clients, like they are not built to produce content at the volume level that this
The
new AI
scale.
update, yeah, they're just not built for it. And so there's a lot of change that's getting ready to happen in the next 24 months. And I don't know, I'm not a big predictor of things. I just like to sort of react and take advantage of trends when they come and they go.
Sure.
And that way you don't get too far out over your skis. And, the new people always get slaughtered. Like being first mover is very rarely worked out for anybody. But like at the end of the day, I think great entrepreneurs, like if don't be so tactic heavy focused. And I would love to know what you think about this, Jeffrey. Like I'm big on mental models. Like find things that work most of the time that are tactic agnostic. So for instance, going back to this Andromeda update with AI, like, okay, some people in the creative space are very worried about AI creative becoming a thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, maybe it's weird, maybe not. Like maybe there's some ethical things with like how the AI was trained. Like those are all fair conversations and should be had by people much smarter than me. But what I know to be true as an entrepreneur is that it doesn't matter the tool or the tactic of how you make the creative. You could be talking straight to an iPhone. You could go old school and talk into a radio mic. You could you could do hand drawn animation. You could do 3D animation. You could do any of the other forms of creative creation, right? You could prompt into Nano Banana, and now all of a sudden you have all these photo assets. Those are all tools. What is the underlying mental model? That's the thing as an entrepreneur I'm always more interested in. And what we see time and time again across 10,000 years plus of human history and evolution is that the people that are good at telling stories win and capture attention. And at the end of the day, we define marketing as attention multiplied by emotion equals influence. And getting attention is easy. That's running an ad that's showing up in front of somebody. But
Yeah.
causing an emotion is not easy. And that's all about storytelling. And that's all about like how can you emotionally engage somebody to stop whatever else they're doing and pay attention to you. And like you said, in an increasingly digital world where people are getting more and more distracted and there's volume of content that they can consume, being good at storytelling is the thing you should be worried about way more than is AI something you should think about doing or not. Like, I don't care. Do it or don't. Do whatever platform you can create the best stories in, whatever tools you need to do that, do that. But no tool is going to get you away from being a shitty storyteller.
But it might make people believe that they could be good at something even if they aren't because of the tools they have available to them now. It
Yeah,
doesn't make it an excuse for you, even if you're capable of doing something without the assistant of AI or anything like that. You have to at least explore it because your time spent on a project is going to be infinitely more without the assistant of it's a tool. It's just another tool.
correct. 100%.
And you talk a lot about the 5 stages of awareness. What's missing from most the digital ad strategies now, and how can founders avoid wasting money on ads that don't connect? I feel like we just talked about this.
No, it's good to hammer home though, because
Yeah,
I think that one of the and I just did it. It's a buzzword to say be good at storytelling. Like that is something you hear from internet gurus all day long. Like, oh, the story really matters, and like it does, and it's shorthand in this short media environment.
yeah.
Like we're not going on a 4-hour course or deep dive here, so it is a little bit of that top line stuff. But the 5 layers of awareness, the 5 stages of awareness from Eugene Schwartz's book, Breakthrough Advertising. That is just another layer down on becoming a more sophisticated storyteller, right? So the 5 stages, if you don't know, it starts at the top, which is I'm unaware. I do not know that I have a problem. I definitely don't know that products exist or solutions exist or companies exist. I'm unaware. And that is where the majority of the market sits at any given time. Like there's this other great marketer named Les Bidet that coined this term, the 95-5 rule, which is like if there's 100 people in a room, 5 of them are in market for what you do right now. That doesn't mean they're qualified. That means they're in market for what you do. So with your company now, like 5 people that you meet with are going to be qualified. Like I need AI automation. maybe one of them has the budget and the specific business model and all the things you need. And so even then it gets harder.
Mhm.
The 90 room, those are people that could be qualified at some point and will be interested at some point. That's what marketing's job is, to go connect with all those people, right? And those are the unaware people a lot of times. Like that's the majority of the room, is that they just don't know what they don't know. And so you want to start creating content, telling stories that make unaware people aware of the problems that exist. And that's the next stage, is that you become problem aware. And from there you become solution aware. And from there you become product or you're basically company aware. You're aware
Yeah,
that your business exists. And then most aware is essentially like, I'm ready to buy from you. I just don't have a good reason to yet, or I'm not
yeah,
quite ready to pull the trigger. Most people spend the majority of their advertising dollars and storytelling time on the lower stages of that. They want to talk to people who are product aware and are most aware, and they're the people that will be the quickest dollars in. And we see it time and time again as an advertising agency, like your sales will grow to a point and then they will flatline.
plateau.
And at some point they plateau. It's usually between $1 and $5 million. It's industry specific.
Generally, small businesses less than 5 in
Right,
revenue.
and what they're doing is they're not creating more demand for their product because they're addicted to return on ad spend.
Yeah,
And I'm empathetic because cash flow is the number one reason that small businesses close in America. I understand the pain, but you feel like you're wasting money on marketing. We call it random acts of marketing. You're just, I try this, I try this, I try this, and like none of it actually works. And it's because you've never actually put a whole plan together,
mhm,
and the plan should work, and one thing feeds on the next and the next. We call it a flywheel. Like the flywheel builds momentum as you spin it around and around and around. And most people have never sat down and done the work of like, okay, I'm building a plan and I'm going to have weekly KPIs that I'm so diligent about hitting every single time. You know, if I was going to start let's say I'm starting an AI automation agency from scratch, I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to have 100 conversations every single day. Like, and that just could mean you're starting a conversation or that you're actually having one like this. But it's like, if you don't have money to go out and spend a ton of money on advertising, it's like you can do that 100 conversation thing a day, 5, 6 days a week, and you'll be shocked at how much your business will actually grow. But most people don't want to be disciplined and consistent enough around that plan. They just kind of like, oh, I did this and then I wrote an email today and then I did, because it's fun to chase all the shiny objects, right? And
no
I think that's
question.
what we suffer as entrepreneurs, right, Jeffrey? It's like,
100%.
there's this new podcast I listened to, and Chandler said this thing, and then Jeffrey said it was a really good idea, and then now I'm off on this other adventure, and I'm ignoring the thing that's bringing me revenue. Do the thing that brings you revenue. That's probably the only piece of advice I got for anybody under $1
100%.
million. Do nothing else except make revenue.
It does sound like the common theme though is consistency for sure.
Yeah. That's
I
another
do
mental model. It's like,
it is,
once you have a plan that works, like what's it like? Just be consistent. You do not have to reinvent the wheel, because most of your inventions will not work out. And when you get one that works, you crank on it, right? Who is it?
right.
Alex Ramosi is really famous for saying more, better, new. Most entrepreneurs just go straight to new, and they should just do more, like more, more, more,
Mhm.
more. And that's one of the most revolutionary things. Like when he said it that way, I was like, is my dumb monkey brain can translate that. I'm like, cool, more means more.
Don't chase it all, but don't chase what looks to be the most appealing thing at all times. Find out what works for whatever it may be. Don't even worry about exactly what it is. And until you're at that point, you're just testing and you're being consistent and you're working through things that you're trying to determine which path am I going to take.
Yeah.
And you can apply this to kind of principle to anything, fitness, any goals in life. It's pivotal to be consistent and not to be too concerned about what's happening now and or like maybe what others may perceive of you. It's just about trusting in your belief, focusing on it, being consistent about it, and then being in tune with whatever may come across.
Yeah. I've got a system for this that I'm a bit, I got one pitch. It's mostly I build systems around flywheels because they build momentum. And for
Yeah.
me, it's like it's built like this. It's input, output, data, community. And then it all spins like this. And so input is like you're reading books, like the books I have behind me, listening to podcasts, anything like that, right? You're gathering information. But if you have no experience, you don't really know if the information you're getting is good. That's where the output piece comes in. All of a sudden, somebody probably told you like, hey man, it's probably a good idea to have a podcast. And you're like, that's good input. Like, let me go put some output in and put some podcasts out there. Now, just having a couple episodes, you have a totally new level of understanding about all
Completely.
the advice that you were given in the input stage. Because now you're looking after the output and you're looking at the data that you're giving back and you're going, I actually had a conversation with somebody. I was able to make a lead gen conversation on Friday, and now like that's good data. And then you have a community, like you and I are friends now, so you can text me or email me anytime and be like, hey man, I got this idea, or like this data looks like this. Like, what do you think? Like, you need somebody in the trenches with you that's also understanding, and not a business coach kind of thing, but like a friend that's like, I think that's a good idea. Like, share best practices, share failures, which then lets you go back to the input stage. You do what's called just-in-time learning, right? Oh, I got new questions. Like, how do I improve the video quality? Do I get editors? Do I do this? Like, and then you go watch different videos,
Yeah.
different books based on all the flywheel that spun before that time, which then makes you go do more output, which then gives you more data, which then your community can give you more feedback on. And then that loop just sort of builds on itself. The problem is that people will start to build momentum around something like this, and then they'll stop, and they won't keep spinning the wheel consistently like you're talking about, and they go try to start a new wheel. And then that means you just have to start from zero all over again. And I'll tell you, like, after crashing my first business, the thing I regret the most is losing the momentum of 6 years of brand, 6 years of revenue, 6 years of team building. Like, all of that disappeared overnight. And I had forgotten how hard it was to start a company from
Yeah.
scratch. And when me and Austin and Ben started Highbeam from scratch again 4 years ago, that sucked. And I had forgotten how much it sucked.
Yeah.
It's like my wife told me it's like childbirth, right? Like, she had forgotten how much it sucked to be pregnant. So then when we had our second son, she was like, I'm never getting pregnant again. And then now this past weekend, she was like, should we have another one? And I have a photo on my phone now that I show her. And I'm like, you see this? Don't forget, this is what you looked like. This is how pregnant felt. But it's just, it is consistency. It is
We'll
like,
never truly know that one, but
no, never, never. Don't hear me say I can relate at all. But it is a thing of like, if you're going to go build a company, it is very much like creating a life. Like, you are creating an entity out of nothing, unless you're doing, entrepreneurship through acquisition. Like, you are building something out of nothing, which means you have to, like, when you find something that helps it grow, like, keep feeding it that. Don't
Yeah.
don't get distracted.
And the business you were discussing was the barbecue, Lyle's barbecue, and you weren't able to utilize. Was there like, did you have a break, like a period between Lyle's and High Beam that you were able to sort through everything and just determine next step, or what? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, when Lyles was shutting down, I realized, like, okay, well, I'm going to need another job, and I liked the idea of just getting a steady paycheck. I was like, it just would be nice to not have all the pressure
I've
of
been there
being
before.
the guy. Yeah, and I didn't realize that I'm just not wired to work for other people. Like, I will do it if I have to put food on the table, but given my druthers, I would rather be self-employed and building my own thing. It's a compulsion, that's a disease that I wish I didn't have, but I do.
I have it too.
And it worked out well. I got to go work at a company, work in-house at a marketing agency for a major brand, and
Nice.
I learned a lot, worked with hundreds of great marketers, and so I was able to really develop my skill set out over
Oh,
those
okay.
2 years, and I was able to reflect on all the mistakes I made from the first business and why it closed. And then when we launched Highbeam, I said, I don't mind making mistakes once. I just don't want to make the same ones again. And so we have, to our credit as a leadership team, not repeated any of the mistakes that I made with that first business. And I think, if you're gonna have the lesson and have the money and all the problems that come with the pain of failing, and whether it's a small failure like, oh, I tried this ad campaign and it didn't work, or it's a big failure like I had and the whole company disappears, don't waste that lesson. Like, learn
Mhm.
from it, tattoo it somewhere, and get smarter. It's okay, but get smarter.
Right, so you were able to utilize exactly what you learned in the marketing agency, and
Oh,
then
it's like playing a video game. Like, you can run the first 5 levels again really easy. Like, we have gotten already every year we've been more profitable than we ever were with Lyle's Barbecue. We've grown faster than we did with Lyle's Barbecue. Like, we've grown more profit. Like, everything got better because I already had done all the I'd done all
yeah.
these. I already learned all these lessons. I already knew all the answers. I knew what mines to avoid. Like, I could speed run it. Now Highbeam has hit a point where I'm wandering into uncharted territory again, so it's starting to slow down a little bit as I go learn the next round of things, as Ben and Austin also go learn the next round of things. So like for instance, this whole year has been all about hiring people and helping us fix our capacity issues. And that was a whole new challenge because I wasn't hiring, $7 an hour dishwashers. I'm hiring
Yeah.
very highly compensated professionals with different needs and wants. And while there's similarities, it's different. So you got to learn.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
And we've already made a mistake and we fixed it and we won't make that mistake again
It's
in the hirings.
inevitable.
Yeah.
Even if you think you're a great judge of character and you've done all your research, it's impossible to know exactly what you're getting
Yeah.
into.
But to that point, like early on in the barbecue restaurant, like I insisted on talking to every single person that came up and bought something from us. I was like, I care about the brand. I care about the customer's experience. There's no way any other human can be as good of a cashier as I can. Do you think it's the best use of a business owner's
Yeah.
time to be the cashier? Like, do you understand how I know that it sounds insane to us now,
Even if you're the best.
even if I'm the best, could I not hire somebody for $10 an hour to be 80% as good?
Pretty
Like,
good.
probably. And then I could go do $100 an hour task, right? But no, not my dumbass. I insisted on it. And
You
this
did
carried
it?
on for like 6 months. I
Oh
did
my.
this for 6 months. And I finally was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to have to find somebody hire, put systems in, yada, yada. And all that ended up working out. But I took 6 months to learn the lesson. This
Sure.
time around, as soon as we hit capacity and we had the cash, we hired somebody
You have
and
to
it worked out.
delegate. You
Right.
have to.
Yep. And then as soon as we hired the next person and it didn't work out and she wasn't the right fit, we had to let her go, unfortunately. And like we moved on and we learned and we trained and like, so but that's what it is. It's like you're constantly in this state of learning, moving, growing. One of the other mental models I have is imagine you're driving down the road and there's two guardrails on both sides of the road. And the road is your entrepreneurship journey as you're driving down, trying to hit the goal wherever you're trying to get your business to. On the left side is don't bankrupt the business. On the right side is don't bankrupt the brand. So don't bankrupt the brand means like don't get on stages at political rallies and do Nazi salutes because it'll
Yeah,
probably
image.
tank your Tesla sales by 80%, right? That's just a bad look. Like it's going to
Yeah.
bankrupt your brand. You can't do it. And now you got to go do
But
this
you have
whole
to be conscious of it.
right. But that's such a big brand that like they're going to survive it and be able to bounce back. Like if you're a small
Yeah.
town barbecue restaurant, you probably won't.
No.
You're not coming back from that. Like a local, it's not going to happen. On the other side is don't bankrupt the business, right? Like don't do things that like take risk like I did that if it doesn't work out, you're out of the game. And that's what we did. We tried to expand to a new location with a different restaurant concept. Like it was a huge bet. And if it worked out, I'd be driving Ferraris on Barbecue Mountain today. But I'm not in Barbecue Mountain. I have no Ferrari. And it's because it didn't work out. And so that bet, while big, was too big of a risk. And then we drove off the cliff and the game was over. So like, as long as you're navigating in between those two guidelines, like you can take risk, but you got to be really careful not to go too far either direction because there's no coming back.
And how do you go about weighing those options? Do you you have co-founders now, would you utilize any services or would you utilize AI or anything like that to go about considering next steps or a big move like you did, even though it didn't work out with Lyles? You still have to think big to get to your goals in your business. It's important to be able to have a collective thinking of the minds, I guess, to determine is this risk worth it and should we go forward with it?
Yeah. I just think about the risk to reward ratio is a thing I think about a lot now. And I think that's what that's really talking about. It's like when you don't bankrupt the brand, don't bankrupt the business. It's really just a, a dumber way of saying risk to reward ratio. It's like, I'll give you a good story here. One of the ways that we develop business at Highbeam is that I get on stages and I speak publicly. Now, one of the problems with that we face is that I'm not famous. I know I got on your podcast, which is great. So you're helping add to my future
Awesome.
lore, but like I'm not one of these huge authors or anything like that.
Right.
I don't have a huge platform. Highbeam's only 4 years old. We only have so many case studies. And so I have to go out when I want to do a speaking gig and I have to do the bird dogging. I got to Google it. I got to search it. I got to research the event. And then I got to figure out who to contact at the event. And then I got to craft a really creative message that'll get read and actually responded to. And it's a lot of work to do all that, right? So then I had the idea like, okay, I could do that. I could book 5 to 6 events a year with that amount of effort, with my bandwidth, all the things.
Yeah.
What if I hired somebody to do that? So that led me down the road of looking up, okay, I could do VAs or like, then I came across this thing called a speakers bureau, which I had never heard of, which is essentially like an agent for a bunch of speakers and they help you get booked. And then I realized, oh, well, I'm not, again, famous or rich enough to work with one of the large speaker bureaus. So then I found these things called micro speakers bureaus. And then I found this one woman who had a great online presence. She had a good website, good case studies. She had a good sales pitch. And so I paid her $8,000 to be my speakers agent for the year. And she said that that was a 6-month engagement for $8,000. And her guarantee was that I will get you booked on stage to speak and I will get you a speaker fee that pays off what my actual fee is. And so it was like a no risk thing for me. It felt
Yeah.
like an easy yes. This was year 3 of our company. I would not have done this in year 1 or year 2 because $8,000 to us at that time would have been a huge drain on our cash position
Yeah.
and a monthly cash flow thing. Like now we could cash flow that out of a month, no problem. Back then, it was like a big deal if this was year 1 or year 2. So like the risk to reward ratio of testing this idea in year 1, year 2, way too high. Year 3 when we did it, perfect. Because here's what happened. She booked me on a grand total of 0 stages, paid or free. And I kept telling her, I was like, I will speak for free. It doesn't matter. As long as my ideal clients are there, like I will speak for free.
She didn't get you
And
any.
she got me 0. And so like I got a whole lot of feelings about it, and I would just probably trying to move on at this point. But it's like, she kept working for free trying to book us for stuff, and it just made me so mad in month 9 that I was like, this is just over. And every time I get reminded of it, it's over. And now I use it as a podcast keynote story to prove this point, which is like, we tried it. It didn't work. I'm sure she's great and can do it for other type of people, but maybe we just weren't a good fit. Whatever. We're moving on. It's essentially just a rounding error for our company now. But back then, year 1, year 2, it would have been a huge deal. And so those are the things you got to think about. Like, and another thing to think about, or that I used to think about, is that like Simon Sinek wrote this book called The Infinite Game. And in that book, he talks about we have finite games and infinite games. Finite games are like NFL, like a football game. There's 4 quarters, there's agreed upon rules, you have a winner and loser at the end. Infinite games are like business. Your business could be great. The chances you're a 100-year dynasty are basically 0. Like, you're not going to build a business that's around in 100 years. You get acquired, you close, like something will happen. It just doesn't happen. The last time I checked, they still eat barbecue in Lexington, Kentucky, where I sold barbecue. And I haven't been open for 5 or 6 years now. So barbecue is infinite, and I can't compete with that. So the reason I bring that up is that sometimes as an entrepreneur, especially when you're new and you don't have the perspective of people that have been doing it for a while, that have seen the ups and downs and what it takes to make something come to fruition, is that you feel this pressure to rush. And I would encourage you to really dig deep and ask, why do I feel the need to rush right now? Is it a survival thing for the business, or is it I'm trying to solve some sort of deep wound from my childhood, maybe, right? You didn't realize we'd be doing therapy today, Jeffrey, but here we are. So it's like business is long, life is long, but it's short at the same time. So like you feel like you need to take risk because you're trying to chase something that you'll never actually catch. And like every new layer of success, every new level of success, I should say, that I've reached as an entrepreneur, I just find that there's more problems, there's more mountains, like it just never ends. So you're much better off to just enjoy today. What do they say? Enjoy the journey, right? Like that's really at the end of the day what this is all about. So like get enough money to where you can live comfortably, eat groceries, like get your bases covered, but then like be consistent, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and staying grounded and present through it all is really important. And I think a big part of the issue about entrepreneurship and why people don't fully see it out in a way that they could have potentially is their image and the risks taken to get to. If you really want to get to a place where you need to go, you're going to need to broadcast your image to your network.
Yeah.
And that comes with risk. And with that potential of failure, which is relatively high as an entrepreneur, you might not go all in, or you're like, it's not worth it to me. So I think a big part of it is that. I think because of that, it opens opportunities for people like us, because in reality, like you said, you wanted to get rid of, what was it? Capitalism, corporate, what'd you call it?
Shareholder value is the
Yeah,
terminology. I got a whole TED talk on that I could give you, but I won't.
the whole thing, because it's like it goes against what capitalism was really built on, which was, developing something that we all care about individually. And I'll never give up on it. I've worked for the man. That was enough. I've seen it long enough to know that I can manage myself.
But there's another side to that story. I met a guy here in my neighborhood 2 weekends ago who had quit his full-time job with GE to go work at his wife's company full-time. And about 6 months in or so, he just was like, I can't do this. I got to go back to GE. He at least was self-aware enough to know that
Yeah,
he's better in the other environment.
sure.
And I think it's okay to realize that maybe you're just a really happy worker bee and you got your
Yeah.
hobbies on the weekend, or maybe you're what's called an entrepreneur, right? Like you like to be within somebody else's organization, but have some safety and freedom to go
Mm,
try and build
I like
something
that
new
term.
within an organization. Or you can be a full entrepreneur and like you're the one at the top leading the thing, moving the thing, yada, yada. So it's like, I think a lot of success as an entrepreneur is going to come down to self-awareness a lot of times. And, opinions of you, what they think about you, nobody thinks about you. ever. This is one of the things we tell people that are clients of ours. It's like, I know you're in your business every single day and you're thinking about it a lot. People are making, what is it, 35,000 decisions a day. They're conscious of 70 of them. So most of their life is on autopilot. And those 70 conscious decisions are probably around their own lives. Because we're all selfish, self-sufficient creatures by nature to survive. And it's not a bad thing. It's
No,
just
it's just
reality.
reality.
Right. And it's like, if I want to buy an AI automation tool, like, you're going to have to contextualize it to my situation. If I'm going to sell you marketing services, I'm going to have to contextualize it to your situation, not what I'm trying to do. And that is over and over and over again what you've got to do as an entrepreneur. I tell people all the time, like, don't Google my name, because like, you'll just see this front page paper article from when I closed my barbecue restaurant. Like, it made the front page in our town.
Still?
It probably still will come up. I don't know. I've done a lot of content since. I haven't done it in a while. But
I
for a
didn't find
while,
it.
if I Google my name, it would come up. And it's like, once you're blasted on the front page of a paper, like,
That's
for
fair.
closing a business, and it's like, after that, whatever. Like, it's like, you can live through it. It's not a big deal. People forget so fast because they're so
Oh,
busy
yeah.
worrying about their own lives, like they should be, that like, short of doing something unethical and really egregious, like, you're pretty
Yeah,
much free to try anything.
exactly. And it's, you can hang your hat on that, "I owned a barbecue business," like, that's awesome.
It was a great story to collect.
That's great, man. I really think that's cool, and that's a good message for anyone to listen to. And entrepreneur, I hadn't heard of that. I like it. You've worked inside structured organizations, and now you run your own agency. What surprised you most about the mind shift from operator to founder?
I'll tell you this, something that surprised me a lot, going from a direct to consumer brand with the barbecue restaurant to
Yeah,
now a B2B service brand,
that's a
is
better
the
comparison, yeah.
is the length of sales cycle. The underlying mental models that I believe in for marketing still hold true for B2B brands, just like they did with my direct to consumer brand. What changed that I did not see coming, and I really underestimated, was the length of sales cycle. And so what I mean by that is, like, you get hungry 3 or 4 times a day. My restaurant was open 2 of those times. I got a good chance to get you to come in and try one of those 2 things. And it's also a low risk try for you. Like, yeah, I tried a new restaurant. It wasn't great. Like, no harm, no foul. That is not the case for marketing
No, it's
agencies.
not.
Nobody changes marketing agencies. And when they do, it's usually because something bad has happened. And so you're coming in the middle of a fire. So what we've shifted from is, like, you cannot do short transactional type things. It's all brand and all awareness and all marketing stuff. It's stuff like this podcast, it's LinkedIn content, it's all the brand building stuff, and very few like conversion hack type things, because the people that fall for conversion hacks are like the worst kind of clients to have, just because they're going to be so new that they're easy
That's
to fall for
true.
that. You know what I mean? So now I'm just in a place where I'm like trying to build as many great long-term relationships as possible, either with like referral partners like yourself, or like actual I great story. We did an event a year and a half ago. We sponsored this CPG group in Nashville, and they have like all these CPG founders, like maybe 100 that come in. And so we sponsored it as High Beam, and we did a little training session, and we did a panel, and we answered questions for like an hour and a half, like really deep questions, like really got into the weeds. Majority, back to the 95/5 rule. Most of the people in that room were not ready to work with us. We got one direct lead out of that event. Ended up working with them on a project, and then that sort of ended. And we're a retainer based agency, really. And
Yeah.
so that's what we prefer, but it didn't even work out that way. So I kind of chalked it up as like, okay, that was, we tried it. It didn't really work out. No big deal. Moving on. Again, risk to reward, not a big deal. Literally a week and a half ago, a guy emails me and goes, "Hey, we met at that event a long time ago. I don't know if you remember me or not, but like, do you guys help with this sort of problem? Da da da." And I was like, "Yes, we do." And so it took a year and a half of that guy reading my email newsletter every week to build his own business to a point where he's ready to bring somebody in. And when he was ready, we were in as what I call the top 5. And that does come from the barbecue days, where it was basically like, when you and your spouse are figuring out where you want to go eat at night, what do you do? All right, do you want to go here? 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 You got your spots, your 5 favorite things. I just wanted my barbecue restaurant to be one of your 5 favorite places. So now with the marketing agency, I just want to be one of your favorite marketing people, so that when you're ready to have that problem solved, whether we can do it or not, you come to me as the expert, and then I will either help you, or I will get you connected with somebody in my network that can actually go help you. And it took a year and a half to close that lead.
Wow.
And he's still not technically closed yet. We have a discovery call this week, so you'll have to do a part 2 with me in a couple
That's
months, and
awesome.
I'll let you know how it ends. But, it is a long, again, business is long. It's an infinite game. We're not in a rush. Like, just do the hard work consistently every month, every week, build brand, build brand, build brand, and it'll work out.
Right, and then at the end of the day, it's a lot about the quality of the client and not just the vast majority of people that you may be able to do business for, but they aren't long lasting and they're not the partners you want.
Right.
So, I mean, that's huge.
Well, I mean, early on when you're in your business, don't be picky, right? Like if
Yeah,
you're
no, I
you're
mean, of
month
course.
one, like, anybody that will pay you, let them pay you. Like our first client at Highbeam was a $500 a month organic social media management client. And so for $500 a month, I did her strategy, I did all of her scripting and outlining, I
Full
did her
service.
interviews, I did everything full service within social media organic content
That's awesome.
for $500 a month because it was all me. I was just selling my time. And so, but that was the money we used to buy the LLC. I put no money into Highbeam. Like none of us put any money in. I insisted on us selling something first and then we start the business. And so she paid us through like business Venmo and then we paid for the LLC. And then like in month 2, we got another client and it worked out in the long run. So like, but we would never do that deal now. But early on, it made a lot of sense. But again, back to that input output data community cycle, it was like people said sell, we sold. The output was selling that $500 thing. The data said that's not profitable, but we'll figure something else. And then I met friends like you and I was like, hey, what were you doing for biz dev? I tried some of their stuff. It worked out really well. We got better and the cycle spins.
That's inspirational for sure. You shouldn't, I know we all have dollar signs in our eyes at times, but you really got to think about developing your business and your brand and taking on potentially clients for could be a long time just
Yeah.
to get there, to get to the point to where you
Well,
are.
cash is your business does not move without money.
Yeah.
And so like unless you're independently wealthy, which like I hope you are, and I mean you as the general sense here, not you, Jeffrey, but it's like
No worries.
like unless you're an independently wealthy person or you got friends that are going to fund your business idea where you have cash to be able to come in and do things, that means you're bootstrapping, which means the only thing that matters is revenue. And so anything you're doing outside of revenue is a distraction. I had a conversation with a guy last week and he's got this beard care line where he's doing oils and all the things. Like I'm not actually sophisticated enough with my baby beard here
I
to be a
can't do a
guy.
beard.
Yeah, all right, your smooth shaven look good, but it's like this guy has an audience and he's got 14,000 units in. And since July, he's been doing pre-sales and he's only at like 400 units sold. And I don't say only 400 to be derogatory, but it's like, dude, you got 14,000 units coming in. And the reason why I was a little bit like sassy with him, to be honest, was that he was telling me about, oh, I was doing this and I'm trying this. And I thought about buying an ad in an airport and I'm not, blah, 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 blah. Like he's got all these other ideas and none of them map to him selling stuff today. And and he's a new entrepreneur. And I'm like, nothing else matters except you getting cash in the door so that you can create the momentum you need to grow this business. And I think he listened. We'll see. We'll catch up on follow-up too for that story to end. But that was the whole pitch to him was basically like nothing else you do matters except how do I sell more product right now? Do you
Right.
know how many businesses make it to $1 million a year? Have you ever seen that stat?
No, I haven't. I would love to know.
It's 5%
Of from
of
like
small businesses in America make it to $1 million a year in revenue. Top line, not profit. Top line.
ever,
Ever in the life cycle.
not in the first year, ever. I would have thought a lot more than that.
No, it's 5%. And beyond that, 50% of the businesses close in the first 5 years. Only 30% of businesses make it to year 10. So like this world of Shark Tank and The Profit, like I was on The Profit. I love those shows. Like they are great things. But dude, that is a snapshot of a very successful entrepreneur. And that is the exception, not the rule. And so like nothing matters except revenue. Like you should have no other job in your business building other than getting to $1 million a year in revenue. And that's industry specific, whatever. Maybe it changes. I don't care. Like you need more revenue. That
Right.
almost everybody needs more revenue. Chandler, your marketing agency is too expensive. It is expensive for people without revenue, but people with revenue that have higher value use of their time
Will grow.
will grow. And they get more smarter people like us to come in and build a marketing system. People like you to come in and build an AI automation system. And it's like,
That's the whole idea.
but you can't do that without revenue or you
No.
give away equity and nobody wants equity in your crappy little company that doesn't make revenue.
Right. And I'm not approaching people that are just starting. I'm looking to come in and assess the business and determine
Right.
where we can help. You know,
But
There's
there is a cool thing in B2B where like you can be the educational resource early on.
that's fair.
And the amount of like that guy that I talked about, I have a discovery call with later this week. Like we were an educational resource at that event. And then we were an educational resource with all of our content and our emails and everything else for a year and a half. And now he's ready, as he's gotten more mature as a business owner, he's ready to work with us, possibly. And that's the game.
That's cool. Again, this is a big reason why this podcast is important to me. It's something that is educational, not just for people to watch, but for myself. And it's important to develop that trust.
That's it. It's
It's
the whole thing.
everything.
What is it? The old adage in marketing is it's all about who knows you, likes you, and trusts you, and then they'll
Yep.
do business with you. They
Yeah.
got to know you exist. They got to like what you're about, and then they got to trust that they're not just throwing their money in a dumpster fire.
Right. And that's the thing. Another reason why I think a video podcast is great because it's me talking.
Yeah, 100%. I know you better now than I did an hour ago.
Likewise. It's not as good as in person, but
That's right.
I'm considering taking this thing on the road. We'll see.
Well, when you're in Cincinnati, let me know. We'll do
Cincinnati,
the first in-person one.
Never been to Ohio actually.
You'll love it.
I got a bunch of buddies from up there, here in Dallas, actually. A bunch of y'all moved to Texas. I don't know. What
I
y'all
like
doing
warm
down
weather.
here?
There's like 2 inches of snow outside right now.
Is it,
It's brutal.
50 and everyone's freaking out around here?
Ugh, I wish it was 50 here. I'd give anything for 50.
Great. See, actually, I know. I actually wanted to ask you one thing before that. So,
Yeah.
about the guy, with the beard, he had all these different ideas of doing ads and just kinda throwing things out there. What you're saying, of course, revenue is king, cash flow. What about like, what would you have changed about his strategy? I know he means well, right? He's trying to do the ads in a way that makes sense. He's trying to sell 14,000 units, which he's only sold 400. What is it about the his specific strategy that you would have altered to prevent that waste?
Yeah, the advice there are some things he's doing really well. Like he's got a like P&G here is based in Cincinnati and he's based in Cincinnati. So he has some former P&G people that are on his like friend board that are kind of giving him advice. So he is doing some things really well for the long run, but he's going to have to sell some units today to stay in business and like make sure the long run investments pay off
Of
and he's
course.
around to collect on them. And my advice to him was like, given the fact that you don't have a budget for running ads, and given the fact that you don't have a budget for hiring a social media agency or a creative agency to make content for the ads, the upstream problem for that, or the solve for that, and the thing that actually could produce revenue for you is to just start making social media content. So he could
Mm,
be a TikTok brand, he could be an Instagram brand or whatever, and he's a very personable guy, so he's got a really good chance of being engaging and entertaining on
gotcha.
camera. But the problem is like it is a whole skill set. It's a whole job to be a content creator
It
on the
is.
internet. So he's going to have to run his business and have a job of being a content creator. So one of the things we told him, and I tell everybody, is like, hey, 25% of your budget when you're trying to grow, 25% of your budget should be spent on advertising and marketing. Now, if you don't have money, that means that minimum 25% of your time should be spent on
Mm,
advertising and marketing. So like if you're working a 12-hour workday, which is what most bootstrap founders are, like the first 4 hours of the day, it's 25% should be doing the thing. I think it's 25% ish. It doesn't matter. Like it's close, 3 hours, 4
time.
hours, whatever.
You gotta dedicate time to it.
Right. But he could create a ton of great content over the next 6 months if he spends 4 hours a day learning it, putting it out there, doing I got one pitch, the flywheel. Just duh, duh, duh,
Especially
duh, duh.
with, something you can actually show visible.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's gonna learn about testimonial content and the 5 stages of awareness, and, like, all those things unveil themselves once you get in the right game and you
Gotcha.
start playing the right thing. He was just trying to play the wrong thing. Like, airport ads work if you're Coca-Cola. You know, you have a huge budget. You
Right.
have a lot of awareness. Like, that's another place to place an ad, and you've got unlimited budget. You know, Coca-Cola spends billions a year on marketing. This guy's not gonna do that, and so don't compete where they compete. Compete where you can.
Right. Those ads are meant to be, like, reminders of something you already know. Like,
Right.
"Oh, yeah, we're still around.
Right. Yeah.
Don't forget us." It's not a
Correct.
place to introduce your product or topic or whatever it
Right.
is.
I mean, it can be, but, like,
Yeah.
the chances at work are way less than I let the AI on Instagram's algorithm serve my stuff to people that are really interested in beer care products because the AI knows. The AI knows based on it it's an interest-based algorithm now, which is like, if you're into beard care or men's grooming, it will likely recommend his content to you at least once, maybe twice. But it's all about how good that piece of content is.
Yeah, you can get into the weeds with that topic pretty quick, I
I got a
assume.
whole other TED
That's
Talk
your
I can
whole
give you on
world.
that. That's episode 3. We'll do episode 2 with the follow-up. Episode
That's the
3 is the
long
deep.
format
Yeah.
3-hour version
You
right
let me
there.
know when you're in town. We'll do that in person. I got a
That'd be
studio here.
awesome, man.
We'll do it
I
there.
would love that. So the final question is the fast forward question, name of the pod. If we fast forward 3 to 5 years, what does success look like for you and for High Beam Marketing?
My current mission for Highbeam is to be the number 1 e-commerce marketing agency in the country. And so in 5 years, I would love to be halfway to that goal or 25% of that goal. Like
Wow.
some like measurable amount of progress to that. And so that might look like winning awards, more national notoriety, my own personal brand has taken off. But essentially what we're trying to do with that, and the reason we want that, like it's self-serving, right? Like it works out really well for us. It makes our business more profitable, more healthy, all the good things. But again, back to the thing that really drives me, which is like trying to put the Fortune 500 out of business. Like, the more small business owners that are out there that are running successful, great small businesses, the more opportunities there are for them to employ people, to serve their local communities, and to serve their customers in their local communities a lot of times. And that is just that's a better world for us all to live in. So if I can get High Beam to do those things in 3 to 5 years, then we will, in a very small way, have made America a little bit better place to live.
That's powerful. Don't set the bar too high.
It gets me out of bed in the morning, you know?
Taking down the giants. I love it.
That's it. It's like guerrilla warfare, you know? You can't, like, I'm never going to be able to regulate them to death, and nobody else is going to break up those monopolies. So you take I'm a military guy. I was in the Air Force for 4 years, and you study military conflict and history of those things. Like, who wins? It's the insurgents that are like, they're playing an infinite game, right? Back to that. Like, they are going to be in the game until it's over.
Mhm.
And they will nickel and dime you to death. And that's essentially
Mhm.
what I'm trying to do is, like, if I can get, there's 35 million small businesses in America. 31 million of them don't have employees. That was the last time I saw SBA data on that. Like, that's crazy. Like, if 31 million people that own companies start employing people, they're going to take that talent base away from these Fortune 500 companies because nobody wants to work at a Fortune 500 company.
Nobody.
Not really. It's way more fun to work for a small business, smaller team, all the good things that come with that. They care about you more. It's personal because you can't just lay me off from a small business and not say sorry for doing it because I will see you at Kroger. So, like, you can't just be a piece of garbage. You know what I mean? And so that's my vision. It's like, if 31 million small business owners become better business owners because of what we do at High Beam through the either services we provide, which is the small scale, but really the media and all the other things we're trying to do as well, like, that's going to be great.
Man, that's awesome. You should definitely continue on that path, and I think it's something that people can align with on any level because I mean, who doesn't want that? And the way the world's
Shareholders,
going, I know, but such a
shareholder value
small
wants.
percentage of the world.
I
Such a
agree.
such a small
That's, yeah.
percentage.
100%. Yep. Well, I'm gonna rely on you to make sure I'm moving in the right direction at all time. You gotta hold me
Yeah,
accountable. You're in my community now.
let's do this.
I love it.
Any place, where people can find you, connect, or learn more about High Beam Marketing?
Yeah, we have a website, highbeammarketing.com, but you can follow me on Instagram. I'm there all the time. Send me a DM. And then YouTube at Chandler Lyles is probably my favorite place to do. That's where I do a lot of deep dive content. A lot of the keynotes that I give, I record and put up there for free. So we're
Sweet.
just trying to pour into the community, a little education, and it creates leads for us, and it all works out in the end.
Great. It's been a pleasure, Chandler. Seriously.
Hey, I tell you what, if you got 5 seconds, I'm gonna do this. So for your audience,
Let's do it.
if they go to our website at Highbeam and
Yeah.
they fill out the contact form and they said they heard it here on the Fast Forward podcast, I'll give them an hour-long free consulting call where I'll just talk to them about their business and then give them my 2 cents on what a good marketing plan would be for them. And I'd be happy to do that as a thank you for having me on and letting me
Man, that's awesome.
spew nonsense for the last 30 minutes or so.
Dude, I loved it. No, it's really good information. I'm still building my presence, as you know, but
Beautiful. Well, you
glad to
got an
have you
annoying
on.
marketing friend that knows what he's kind of
I
doing,
love
so
it,
I'll
dude.
I'll point you in the right direction.
Been a pleasure, Chandler.
All right, brother. See you soon.
Talk soon. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Stay tuned for more episodes from the Fast Forward podcast every Friday.